Hi, friends. Hey, how's the weather where you live? Oh, yeah. Well, here it's been really gloomy and chilly. No fun. But today I was super excited because this afternoon the sun came out and it was incredible. So I decided to go for a walk. And I don't know about you, but when I go for a walk, I like to take my science notebook with me so I can record anything that I see and observe and I can show people later. So I thought I would show you what I recorded today. Well, the first thing I recorded was my neighbor's yard had 5 squirrels in it. So, of course, I pulled my science notebook right out and I drew a quick picture of those 5 squirrels and I labeled it with a 5. And then you'll never believe it. I kept walking, and in my other neighbor's yard, there were 8 squirrels. I know, it was like squirrel palooza today in my neighborhood. So, of course, I had to draw those 8 squirrels really fast and put the number 8 there to show it as a label. And I bet you're thinking what I'm thinking. I wonder how many total squirrels I saw today. Right? I mean, there was a lot. Well, I bet your brain is already getting to start thinking about like how you can create a number sentence, right? I totally bet that. But I will say, let's put a pause for just a second because I was looking at this good picture that I recorded of my 5 and my 8, and I noticed something. See, my first add in, if I were going to add them together, would be this 5, right? But then I saw that beautiful 5 group and it got me thinking, I wish I could make a 10. But then I saw, if I were to look in that 8, do you see a hidden 5 group in there? Yeah, do you see that 5 group? Oh, wouldn't it be cool if we could put those two together to make a 10? Hey, let's do it. Let's take that first 5 add in and let's break apart that 8 and take out that 5. Okay? And then we can make a 10. Isn't that cool? Yeah, 10 is one of those friendly numbers. If we can make a 10, it helps us when we're adding. Okay, so we have 10. Are we done? Is that the total amount of squirrels that I saw? No way. We definitely have to add in this other part of 8 that we have left over, right? That 3. So we could actually just say 10 and then count on the 3. Let's do it. 10, 11, 12, 13. So I saw 13 squirrels today. Isn't that so awesome? Can you believe I saw that many squirrels? I don't even know what was going on. But you know what? I'm so glad that I recorded this because this is actually going to help with our lesson today. Because our learning goal for today says, I can make 10 when an addend is 5. And that's exactly what we just did. See, I had all the squirrels in my good picture, and I saw that my first add in my number sentence was going to be 5. And I was going to go ahead and add that to 8 like I normally do, and then find the total amount. But then as I started looking at that 8, I thought, if we decompose that 8, we could use that to make a 10. Decompose? Oh, sorry. Decompose is one of those fancy words. Can you go ahead and say decompose? Yes, so fancy, right? Decompose is a fancy way of saying to break a number into smaller parts. I mean, decompose means to break down into smaller parts, but for math, it means to break a number into smaller parts. And that's what we did to that 8. See, if we look at that 8 and we see that inside that 8 is a 5 that we could use to make a 10, well, let's break that 8 into smaller parts, right? So that we can use that 5 group. Now, if we're going to decompose that 8, how do you think we could show that in our number sentence? Because remember, we want to show it when we make a change. Oh, good idea. We could do that little caret, right? We could say, of that 8, and draw a little line underneath it and say, I'm going to take out 5. So I could just put 5 right there. And then, of course, if I took out 5, well, 5 and 8 are not the same number. There's still more to that 8 left over. What's left over in that 8 after we took out the 5? Yes, that 3, right? So on the other side of our caret, we're going to go ahead and write a 3. And then I know that if I add 5 and 3 back together, what is it going to equal? 8. Yeah, because the 5 and the 3 are just smaller parts of that 8. And when I decomposed it, that's how I got those numbers. So if you're going to decompose a number, the numbers that you come up with better add back up to the number you started with. And 5 plus 3 does that. Okay, so once I've done that, now I can just add in the 5, which was the other add-in I started with, right? Pretty cool, huh? All right, now here's the deal. I have been highlighting things to show you my good thinking and to kind of show you where we should be focusing. But you know what? If you are doing a worksheet or an assignment or your dry erase boards, you're probably not going to be highlighting and unhighlighting things. First of all, that would be very messy and a bit of a disaster. So you could, if you want to show that you're going to put those 2 5 groups together in your picture, you could just do one big circle, right? And you can show in your picture that you're going to group together that 5 and other 5 to make 10. Okay, so that's probably what you would do and what I would recommend. Now, let's go back to our number sentence. I get it scooted up a little bit. Okay, so if I'm going to decompose 8 to get that 5 out, I'm doing it for a reason. And remember, our learning goal said we're going to make a 10. So I'm going to go ahead and show that in my number sentence. I decomposed that 8 so that I could get that 5 out. So I could add together 5 plus 5 to make 10. And then, what do I have left to add to get to my total amount? Yep, I got to add in that 3, which was the other part of 8. And then once I do that, then that will tell me what my total amount was. So friends, let's go ahead and say 10 and then count up 3. Here we go. 10, 11, 12, 13. Perfect. So my total amount was 13. Now friends, could I just say 5 plus 8 and then count on to get to 13? I definitely could. But if I know that there's a hidden 5 in there, and if I decompose the 8, I could make 10 with the 5 I already have, well, that's going to help me to solve any problem, right? Let's try it again. All right, so here we go. What if, oh, you know what? I would like you to do this one with me. So can you press pause? Can you get a dry erase board and a marker or a piece of paper and a pencil? We're going to work on this next one together. I want you to practice decomposing a number. Okay, do you have your materials? All right, here we go. So here are some counting cubes that I put together in long towers. Now, how many counting cubes are in that first row? Perfect. Yes, 9. Let's go ahead and write that on our dry erase board or on our piece of paper. And then how many are in that second row? Yeah, perfect. There's 5. Excellent. Now remember, our learning goal said if an addend is 5, we're going to look to make a 10. So we're going to look inside that 9 and we're going to see if we can find a 5 group in there. Do you see it? Okay, yeah. Now, unless you drew out a picture of those like different towers on your board, I'm just going to go ahead and circle it for us. I'm going to go ahead and circle it in my picture because that shows the change I'm about to make, right? Okay, so if I'm circling that 5 from that 9, what am I doing to that 9 then? Yeah, I'm breaking it apart, right? If I had those counting cubes in my hands, I would just snap them apart. But since it's in my picture, I just did a circle around it. Okay, now if I'm going to break apart or decompose that 9, what do I need to do to my picture? I circled it, and then let's also show that we're decomposing that 9. So let's go ahead and we're going to put a little caret by it. So on your board or your paper, go ahead and put a little caret right there. Now I want you to try to see what are the 2 parts then, the smaller parts of 9 that we are going to take out. We're taking out a 5. What's the other part? Can you go ahead and put the 2 numbers on the ends of that caret to show the 2 parts of 9 that we're going to have when we decompose it? All right, press pause while you figure it out. Press play when you're ready. Check yourself. Okay, well, we know one of the parts is going to be 5 because that's the whole point of this, right? We're trying to get that 5 group out of there. So what's the other part going to be? Perfect, 4. Excellent. So now that we've decomposed 9 to get that 5 group out of there, we can make a new number sentence, right? We can say 5 plus 5 plus 4 is going to equal the total amount. Can you go ahead and write that number sentence on your board or your piece of paper? Awesome. Now, friends, what was the point in decomposing that 9 to get that 5? Yeah, we want to make a 10. So can you go ahead and show on your number sentence how you're making a 10? Can you go ahead and connect those 2 addends and then write 10 underneath it? Yeah, so we took that first addend of 5, that other addend of 5 now that we pulled out of the 9, and that's how we made our 10. Okay, so now that we have our 10 pulled out, what do we have to still add in? Yeah, we have to add in the rest of 9 that's left over. So what's our number sentence going to look like now? 10 plus what? Yeah, go ahead and write it on your dry erase board or your paper. Yeah, we'd have 10 plus 4, because that's the other part of 9 we haven't added yet. And that's going to equal our total amount, which is what, friends? Go ahead and write it down. Yep, we can count on from 10. 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. So we know the total amount was 14. All right. Wasn't that fun? Yeah, that was a lot of fun. It was a lot of steps too. Can you erase your dry erase board and or find a new spot on your pencil or on your paper, but then put down your marker and put down your pencil because I'm going to show you something. Now, this board has a lot going on it. Not only did we have a drawing, we showed that we decomposed the 9, but then we also created some new number sentences. Now, we first started by making a 3 addend number sentence, but I'm going to show you a little bit of a shortcut you could do. See, if we have a picture like we started with, and we show the change we're going to make, which is circling out that 5 group from the 9, and we show and tell in our drawing that we are going to decompose that 9 for the 5 group and then also the 4 that's left over, then we could go ahead and just jump to using those two 5s. Because we know what's 5 plus 5? Yeah, 10. So if we don't want to rewrite the 5s, we can just know that now that we circled it and we've showed how we got the other 5 from the 9, we can just go ahead and write 10. And then we can shortcut it and say 10 plus 4, which is the other part of 9 that's left over, is equal to 14. Okay? So when you are decomposing a number and when you're trying to show your good work and your changes, you just want to make sure that your changes is shown either in your picture or your number sentences, or sometimes you want to show it in both. Okay? All right. Now I'm going to have you do this next problem. So get ready. You need to pick up your marker or your pencil, find a spot on your paper, make sure your dry erase board is clear because here we go. All right. I'm going to go ahead and read it, and I want you to start thinking about what you're going to start drawing, okay? It says, Gavin had 6 apples. Cooper had 5 grapes. How many pieces of fruit do the boys have? Okay, so are you already thinking about what you're going to draw? Now remember, when we're doing quick drawings, we're doing quick math circles. Okay, so let's draw for Gavin first. All right, it says Gavin has 6 apples. Now while you draw for Gavin, go ahead and press pause if you need to. Press play when you're ready. Okay, did you draw Gavin's 6 apples? Now, friends, did you remember to put a label? You did? Oh, good job. What label did you use? Oh, yeah, I love that. Gavin. Gavin. Go ahead and use that G. And then he had 6 apples, so we're going to go ahead and do a quick math drawing of 6. Now, this is going to be very important to stay very organized, okay, friends? The next line says, Cooper has 5 grapes. Can you go ahead and add to your picture to show that Cooper had 5 grapes? Press pause if you need time. Press play when you're ready. Okay, so what label did you use for Cooper's picture? Oh, I love it. Use the C for Cooper. Nice. And then he had 5 grapes, so you should have drawn that beautiful 5 group. Excellent. Now, our learning goal said we're going to make a 10. So on your picture right now, can you circle the 10 that you're going to make? I love it. Does it look something like this? Oh, perfect job. Now, when we did that, we decomposed Gavin's 6 apples, right? We took out a 5 group, so how many is left over for Gavin? Yeah, just 1. Okay, so if we know now that we made a 10 and we still have to add in that other part, we could start our number sentence by saying 10 plus, and then what are we going to write next? Go ahead and do it on your dry erase board or your paper. 10 plus, yes, 1. That 1 that's still not added in yet, right? And that's going to equal what? Go ahead and finish that number sentence. Perfect. Yeah, 10, count on 1 is 11. So there were 11 pieces of fruit. Wow, friends, you did a really good job. Isn't decomposing a number super fun? Yeah, I love it. All right, our learning goal for today says, I can make 10 when an addend is 5. So if we have 5 and we're adding it to a number that's bigger than 5, let's decompose that big number and take out a 5 to make a 10. It makes math super fun and way more efficient, right? All right, perfect. All right, good luck making 10s when the addend is 5, and I will see you next time. Bye, friends.